Good morning. Alrighty then. Here we are. It is time for a Biz Minute again. Alrighty then. I hope everybody had a great week. And looking forward to the weekend. And I hope everybody's awakey. Get your coffee, because it's time for a Biz Minute. Alrighty. For those of you who don't know, my name's Steve Palacios. I am the driving force behind the consulting developer. And what I do is I help you do your work better through clearly defined and actionable goals, and use that to set up systems to manage your business better. And I mainly help content producers who work either by themselves or in small teams with VAs and whatnot. So today we are going over how to plan your content using AirTable. Now, if you don't know what AirTable is, you're missing out. Now, I have a software engineering background, and so data systems is something that's near and dear to my heart. And, but unless you're a program talking to a data system, it's not really effective to use a database. Well, what Airtable does is make it so that you as a person can, because we're human beings and we don't like talking in ones and zeros. So Airtable does some really awesome stuff, and I'll be getting into more specifics about Airtable in another session. But for right now, let's get into what process Airtable can help us with, because it's really cool. It's a really cool tool that helps us as solo infopreneurs, as it were, get organized and help us stay focused on objectives and for goals that we've set. So for me, one of the goals I set for myself this year is that in this quarter is to come up with one high quality piece of content for you guys every week. And and so there I hit my 3 things that we need for a goal. It needs to be specific, it needs to be definite, it needs to be measurable, and it needs to be finite. So I want to come up with and release one piece of high quality content each week. So there we are. Now let's get into what this is. So for Airtable, here's the system that I use in Airtable to meet that goal. Now, first off, why? Why do I need Airtable? Well, whenever I'm getting ready to produce a piece of content, I need to go to my idea bank, because we all have them, right? Because we should. And, whenever coming up with ideas is something that lots of there's lots of chatter on the interwebs about how to make sure that you always have something to write about as a blogger or a content producer. And really, it's you need an idea bank. And I don't know about you guys, but I come up with ideas all hours of the days and night, and you need a place to store it. I'm out picking up the dog doo, or weeding, or doing dishes, cooking dinner, hanging with the kids, driving at my 9 to 5, whatever. I have an idea and I need a place to put it, and so I put it into my idea bank. Now, instead of having a separate place for my idea bank, I like simplicity and having it all in one place. So I use Airtable, and I can drop my ideas in Airtable, and there's other ways you can do it. Like if you prefer Evernote, you put it in there, and you can set up using Zapier. I believe I've already talked about that. If not, I will be, to automatically schedule it in your calendar, or put it into another tool like Airtable, so you know what you have, and it's ready for you the next time you come up to a part in your schedule where you're set aside to produce content. And so that's a whole nother topic, but the point is that this is where my content starts, as an idea. I drop it into Airtable, and what did I say? Oh, yeah, that's right. That was something, whenever the muse calls, like I said, you're doing whatever, and you get an epiphany. Ooh, that'd be a really good topic, or that could be a good piece of content, but you don't have the time to flesh it out right then and there, but you got the idea. So you just drop it in there real quick. There's Airtable has a mobile app. It has a desktop app and a web app, so you can get to it just about wherever. And that's you can get it into Airtable pretty easy, and then once you have it in there, then it starts on the journey. And the way that journey looks for me is, it's a tool that I use to help me to develop my ideas, to take them from just an idea all the way through to a piece of content, such as this Biz Minute episode. So once I have the idea in Airtable, when I get some time to move forward on that, I can plop open Airtable on my mobile devices, or on a website, or on my computer, as I said, and I can work on it. And there's several stages that I have it go through. And the really cool thing with Airtable is that it syncs all the way across. We're in a really highly available time, so that's one good thing that Airtable does for us. And whatever the idea is going to turn out to be, I can plan it in Airtable. And so what I do is I've got my idea in Airtable, and I have in Airtable they call them bases. So I have a base that's set up for my editorial pipeline, and so I've got an entry in there for the idea, and I have places set up in there to develop an outline. And So I've got this idea, I put it in there, and I tag it as evaluate. It needs evaluation. And then when I go back through and I start looking at what ideas I'm going to take and develop, I have it set so that there's a view where it automatically filters down to just those ones that I've marked as needs evaluation. And then I go through and I look at them and I pick one that calls to me that, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I need to work on that right now. I pull that out and I start brainstorming it out. And I have a notes section where I can brainstorm out a rough outline or ideas or whatever. And then I turn that into an outline, and then I change the tag to outlined. Then next time I come back to it, it's there. I have another view where it's just the posts that I've outlined, because we're all batching, right? That's a really easy way to save yourself some time. So I go through and I pull out the outlined posts and I start really fleshing it out, and that's when I do any research I need for it or anything like that. And then once I'm done with that, I change the tag forward to hold on, I need coffee. I'm still waking up. Okay, so I've got my outline. Then I start fleshing it out and developing it. And once I have that done, then I change it to draft. I change the tag to draft so that I know that it's mostly developed. And then next time I come through for my batching, I look at all my draft posts and I read through and I refine and edit and, all that good stuff that, any good writer does, your R's and your W's and all that fun stuff. And I develop it anymore and make sure that it's the spirit of the idea, that it clearly communicates the information that I need it to. And once I'm done with that whole process, I change it to reviewed. After that, then I'll take and I'll put it, I'll copy the text into the Hemingway app. Really great one, you guys. If you don't know about it, Hemingway app. Go check it out, because that really helps with readability. As you can tell, I get a little wordy, and the Hemingway app really helps me focus it in so that it's easily digestible. So once I go through and it gives me all the suggestions for readability, and I made those changes, then I take it and I put it into Grammarly. And Grammarly really helps because I'm a computer science major, not an English major. So I don't type that great when I'm, my written communication. So that Grammarly helps me with that. And then once I have that done, then I take that text and I drop it back into Airtable and I mark it as proofed. Then I'm ready to put it into WordPress or record it as a video or an episode or however I'm going to use it. It's a cool thing because it's flexible. I can, at that point, go through and decide, okay, this is going to be a blog post, this is going to be a Facebook Live, this is going to be one of my biz minutes, however I'm going to use the content, it goes. So there we go. And then once I have it in, like if I'm using it as a blog post, once I have it in WordPress, I drop it in there and I make all my formatting and make it look nice and pretty for you guys, and then I mark it as published. Whether I hit publish now or I schedule it, I mark it as published so that I know that it's there. And then I can even record the date that it I either hit publish or that I schedule it for. And I'll tell you why in a minute why that's really good. Well, I'll tell you right now, because Airtable also has this really awesome calendaring function where I can go in and look to see when I have things scheduled out, for my biz minutes or my posts or whatever. Say it's a epic Facebook post, or it's whatever it's going to be. I can look to see when it's scheduled out for, and if I need to change it, I can just drag it around on the calendar, on the actual calendar itself, to see it. And now that my content has gone from an idea all the way through to a finished bit that is out there in the world for you guys, I also have this really awesome history in Airtable where I can go back and I can look to see what I did at each step. And and also another cool thing is I can store any visual assets that I feel should go with this piece of content. Any cover art, any blog images, pins, Instagram posts, Facebook, whatever images. I can store all that in there, so I have it for next time. If there's a download that I'm creating to go with this bit of content, I can store it in there as well. All that good stuff goes right along with it. So with that, I'm going to say that because engineering is such a huge part of my background, this is a work in progress. And that's a really nice thing about, your systems that you use, whether it's your goals, your business management, your content production, your editorial pipeline, whatever. These systems, these projects are always a work in progress. They're never set in stone. You can go back and revisit them often. And this one is too. There's things that I come across that I decide, this needs to be tweaked. In fact, here's an example of that. I'm getting ready, I'm going through this idea, and as it's moving through my system and I get to the point where I'm really I'm getting into the draft and I'm fleshing it out and developing the content as a point of order, Mr. Chairman, this Biz Minute that I'm recording as a Facebook Live will be repurposed as a YouTube episode, and also the audio is going to be a podcast episode down the road. And so I'm going through it, and with that in mind, I realize, this system needs to be changed a little bit. And there's some things that I decided I wanted to change with this. And so after I got it all done, I went back and I made the changes. And that's another cool thing about Airtable, is it's really, really flexible. So there we go. That's how I use Airtable to take my content from an inception of idea all the way through to a finished published bit of content. It helps me stay on track. It helps me meet my goals and moving forward. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. And I will see you guys. Oh, before I go, if you need help with your goals, you want your goals to be really clear and focused in, laser focused and actionable, and you need to know what steps to take to get from, okay, I've got this goal, now what, to knowing and having steps set out for you that that after you finish each task, each step, you're making clear measurable progress towards your goal, I challenge you. Go to consultingdev.net/focus goals. Focus-goals. And you will be taken to some more information about this. And at the end, you will have a chance to accept the challenge. So, with that, I will see you guys on the nets. Until next time, be safe, be productive, and be good humans.